All right, so I'm actually here not doing anything with food today. I'm not doing anything with food today. I'm actually just gonna have a top 10 episode to appreciate the people and the moments and the episodes that I've had, and actually just give credit to the times that stand out in my brain. Sorry, there's distractions here. Because there are times and people that stand out more than others, for sure. So I'm going to get right into it. This is going to be a top 10 of Bite-worthy after doing this for so long. Number 10 was bubble tea with Shelly. Shelly Grunberg invited me to a place that has bubble tea, and I've never had it before, and it was really good. It was a nice, fun, silly, dainty time, and it was nice to, have that. And plus, it was nice, concise conversation. I liked it. That was that one that stuck out in my mind. And bubble tea is delicious, and it's rare that I try a food that I've never had on the show. So so here's that clip.
Where do you think I fall into the silly to serious ratio? Probably further on silly, right?
I'd say the fact that we're having bubble tea and you use the word whimsical means that you carry a lot of whims.
I do. It's just off frame. You can't see it. There's a wall of stuffed pandas.
One, two, three, four walls of stuffed pandas.
Because Ryan wanted to frame this like it's a 2020 interview for some reason. This is full of stuffed pandas.
I'm new to this. I still don't know what I'm doing.
It wasn't a criticism. It was
good.
Enjoying it.
Good. True. I thought it was.
Number 9, JoJo's moment of, we talked about, it kind of got a little serious, and this kind of stuck out in my mind, and I like this moment because it's all fun and games, but part of comedy is realness and suffering or tragedy or hard issues or what have you. And so what we had was a conversation about black comedy, white comedy, in the difference of being black and white in both. So being biracial, what that's like, it was nice to get an insight on that. So here's that clip.
Good to be out in nature. I do a lot of white people stuff, like go hiking and stuff. And so
you're half white. I mean, 50% of you is going to like hiking, and the other 50% can't swim.
Exactly. Right? But the other half, I always keep my Glock on me. So it's a whole thing. You gotta keep safe.
Hey, black people going camping and taking a hike, a Glock and a walk.
Glock. Dude, that's the whole series, a Glock and a walk.
A Glock and a walk. You got your channel now.
Yeah, just I got a little GoPro and a Glock and a walk, and here we are.
Number 8 is Angela Kimmel brought me to a really good Korean barbecue place. One of the top meals that I had on the show. And it was funny because she's a friend outside of comedy, and we support each other and everything. She got surprisingly violent, and it was all in fun, but her kind of go-to jab was to, I'm gonna stab you, and it kind of give me some insight on what Mike has to deal with a little bit. So it was nice to see that side of Angela, and it was funny to get her kind of riled up a little bit. But yeah, not too bad, but that stuck on my brain. So here's that clip of me kind of prodding the panda bear, as it were.
Yeah, you writing this down, or what's up?
No. I mean, I can go back and watch it. Yeah.
Pen and paper for this student right here.
For this stupid white man who doesn't know anything.
Who came unprepared.
Go. Yeah, ask away.
My stepdad would always be like, when you forget school supplies, going to school, it's like, would you go to war without a shield or weapon? I'm like, Dad, it was just a pencil.
Yeah.
I just forgot my pencil.
Pencil's a great weapon, used for knowledge and stab. It's
in the throat. I gotcha.
The tables have turned. Number 7. Number 7 was Copeland's. Copeland's is a restaurant. They have a couple locations, but This restaurant is the number 7 moment because it stuck out as one of the better experiences because it's the only buffet that I've been to on this show, and it was my first, so it was a good first episode. You couldn't really get a better place for a first, and paired with Kendall, who I love to death, and we have great long conversations about comedy, life, and both, and how they intermingle. This was no exception. We had a good set of laughs. We were there for a while. It was great food. Top 10 for sure. So Copeland's was the star, and then we were second, I think, because that food was good. So here's that.
But she was like, I got a young black king. He got all the ancestors running through his blood.
Yeah.
So when he got hurt on the football field, she was like, doctor said it was gonna take, broke his arm or some shit like that. So doctor said it was gonna take him 9 weeks to get ready to get back. He healed at 6. So you know what that means? It was like, not only does my son got some special blood running through his veins, that means we got like 10 extra Percocets. And I fucking died. So I died that shit.
Number 6 was my hang with Anant Gupta. I didn't know him that well, and it's nice to have a comedian who you want to get to know, because you can't really get a better icebreaker than that. But we talked about India and comedy, Indian food and culture. I had an Indian friend growing up, and I was too young to really know what the culture was like, and adulthood and comedy, and what those whole worlds are just young. So it was nice to get that insight, not only as an adult, but as a comedian as well. And plus, I got some good restaurant recommendations. So here's that. Oh, side note, this is about being short, and it was nice to relate to another short man in comedy. So there you go.
Do you enjoy it more when there's a stage versus no stage?
Yes, 100. Dude, the tall comedians don't get it. They don't get it. I was just like, if I want to do comedy, I at least want to have a stage.
Yeah.
Just to like
Jacob Chalk could stand in a 4-foot hole and he'd be like.
Number 5 was actually with Nate at one of my hometown restaurants, one of the places in our stomping ground in Cumming. It's a really good wing place, arguably the best. But we were having wings, and Nate is a nice guy, very wholesome, very unassuming, and a motorcycle drove by in the middle, kind of like what's about to happen now. Funny I talk about it. And he goes by and he said they should all kill themselves. And so you don't expect that kind of thing sometimes from a nice sweet guy, or a soft-spoken one, or one doesn't seem flagrant. But it came out and it made me laugh. It was a good one. So here's that clip.
Yeah. Do you have a savor joke?
I have a couple that I personally would consider gold, but even in those situations, they're not gonna rescue the set. They're just gonna bring me back a little bit. So I had one last night that went terrible, and I brought in case people aren't aware, it's a guy on a motorcycle. People need to know that they should just all kill themselves.
Because that clean old Nate.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
This clip was with Ty. That's number 4. And it was a very funny, silly, on-the-spot thing that he said, but it sometimes a joke or an anecdote or something situational might happen where you're like, I do see it that way now. He mentioned that it seems like he's about to snitch on the hood. So, and I thought about it. Here I am, a guy bringing someone to a restaurant, giving them food in exchange for questions. That's how the first 48 is. So he's not wrong. So here's that clip.
All right, so here it is.
Immediately, this angle makes it look like I'm about to snitch on the hood. It's like you done already gave me the food.
All right, yeah. Now, where were you? No. That's funny. That's super funny. Automatically, you get a joke before the intro. That's good. So, number 3 was Jeremy. Jeremy was a fascinating dude, and we had a lot in common. One of my funniest off-the-cuff things that I've heard on this show was him. It was anti-Semitic. It was funny. It was both. It was the perfect, example of guys ribbing each other, just getting jabs in there and all good fun, and it was great. And sometimes we push that envelope just a little bit, and it leads to some great comedy. And that's what happened just in a moment. And sometimes the smallest things can make you laugh the biggest. So here's that. It's like this. There's no other comic that I know of in Atlanta that has an Italian name.
It's such a heavy Italian name.
Very. It's more Italian than my name.
There's Jason Zaremba.
I don't. Is that Italian?
That's an Italian name, but he is pretty Jewish.
Yeah, he's very Jewish.
Yeah, he's really Jewish.
Quite Jewish.
That's why he'll never be on this podcast. Is that what we're doing?
Is that how far we're gonna go right off the bat? Number 2, it's not a restaurant, it's not an episode, it's not a joke, it's not a moment, it's actually a person. Number 2 is Liz Durr, and I'm gonna gush a little bit, and I'm gonna say I was more than pleasantly surprised with my hang with Liz, because much like an iceberg, you don't know what's underneath the surface, how expansive, how deep things can go, and that is exactly the same way with Liz. It was nice to get to know someone outside of comedy, and then just it unfolds and starts to unfold in all this in common and life stories and things. We had a good conversation before, a good hang after with Tim and Liz after. It was awesome. It was wonderful. So she had a good restaurant. It was a good talk. We had just an awesome time. Plus she said the word cunt. So you can't kind of beat that. So here's one of my favorite moments from this.
I was blunt even for New Jerseyans.
That's saying something.
Yeah, it means I'm a cunt. But
you're not abrasive, you're just a bitch.
Just like my mom taught me. No, my mom's nice. My dad's a bitch.
And sorry to everybody else, but this episode blows everybody out of the water in terms of how much fun I had on an episode. This was pretty much nonstop laughter from beginning to end. We had a funny conversation before it. I think it was my best in terms of the questions for the guest. It was good food. I mean, that's fine. But honestly, it was the laughter. It was the back and forth. And one moment in particular made me just so happy and laugh so hard, because it was the back and forth tennis match of super inappropriate racial just stereotypes lobbed back and forth. It was so bad that we had to put the kibosh on it, because otherwise we'd probably canceled each other. But it was amazing. Christian is a very funny, very likable, relatable guy. He has the snark, he has the sweetness, the niceness, the breadth of knowledge in terms of what's in white culture, black culture, music culture, comedy culture. It was a very good one. So Christian Davis, you take the spot so far. So here's that clip.
Okay, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I think I would disagree with that story on my side, because I don't know my dad.
It's my first spit take. All right. Woo.
White,
You almost really got me. You almost got the splash zone on it.
To quote Daniel Delano, white dads leave too.
White dads leave too. Shout out Daniel.
Yeah.
Did daddy leave? His white daddy left?
His white daddy gone. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was wild. He said that in a joke. I didn't want to burn his punchline, but yeah.
Wow. His white daddy left, huh?
Yeah.
White daddies have cars.
What is this, a racial ping pong match?
White daddies are.
Yeah, that's my top 10 moments so far on this show. Thank you for all the comedians so far who have been on here. Just some comedians that I'm going to have on here, just so you need to stay tuned. Mr. Joe Smith, Mr. Limerick himself, Alex Libby will be on the show, one of the great hosts and female comedians that floats around. Trent, you know, I just felt like running, you know, style comedian, very funny. He's going to be on there. Taylor Neely, I'm going to have to slow down the audio to half speed to catch him. Joel Byers, it's going to be good to interview someone who interviews other people. Malik Whitfield will be on the show soon. My buddy Gabe McAteer will be on the show very soon. Very funny. And I'm going to do a couples episode with my buddy Dalton. I'm going to have a couple people in the industry that are non-comedians, just to get an outside perspective from folks on the cusp or in the outer circle of comedy, but yet very much in. And Daniel Delano will be on the show. There's going to be lots of people, a lot more. Stephen Jones, nearly every comedian you know in Atlanta, and more. There's a couple people in Birmingham, Nashville that I'm probably going to get, but and I do have my first big name after this summer, so stay tuned. We're going to grow this thing, and it would mean a lot to me if you would share this, if you would like this, comment. I don't care if you comment. I'd hate this channel and I'll never watch it again. Comment that, because that'll still help. Please don't comment stuff like that, but if you're going to and that's the only thing you feel like commenting, okay, I can't help it. Also, please give me any feedback that you guys have on this channel. We're gonna grow it. We're gonna do something big. So try and keep it shorter, sweeter. We're gonna change formats and adapt, just like we do in comedy on stage. But that's it for this sort of episode of Bite Worthy, you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. More to come.